what are the latest updates on Wanchain? You have started a little bit of saying about two-way bridge, about the cross-chain lending, but I know you are doing the one talk thing, but if you can release something now, will be appreciated by the community.
Yeah, we actually, it's a very interesting time at Wanchain right now. We're moving. I would say that we're pivoting in a way from our previous both our development on the technology side and also our development in terms of business development and ecosystem building. So previously, we were almost entirely focused on just on Wanchain and on building things on Wanchain itself. And we're not giving up that focus. We are still building applications on Wanchain. I mean, you can see Finexis's options, which an early version of it just went live and it's usable, and they've already attracted quite a bit of users. But we're not only focused on building on Wanchain anymore. So that's really our big pivot. So that's what we discussed in our recent 2020 mid-year roadmap update. We described how our focus is moving from, previously we were really focused on bringing as many assets as possible to Wanchain, and we're focused on building dApps and applications on Wanchain itself. But our next focus for the near future is actually on connecting Wanchain to the greater DeFi ecosystem, which, in the current state of the DeFi ecosystem, of course, that means Ethereum.
Okay. And that will do it with two-way bridge. We'll enter in the Ethereum blockchain and the DeFi, maybe in the Uniswap and all this
yes. So to begin with, we're going to now I just said it's connecting Wanchain to Ethereum, but that doesn't mean only connecting Wan tokens to Ethereum. That actually means we can connect any of the tokens that we have currently released through our cross-chain mechanism on Wanchain. We can bring them over to Ethereum. So right now that would be EOS, Bitcoin, and of course our native token Wan. So that's what we're going to bring over when the two-way bridge launches. We also do have plans to bring over other assets. We're primarily, after the launching of the bridge anyway, for the near future, we're going to be focused on bringing over Bitcoin and Ethereum forks at first. That's for a number of reasons. One, because they're just easier to integrate because we've already integrated Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the technological structure of forks is very similar, so we can integrate quite a large number of them very rapidly. But the other reason is just because a lot of these Bitcoin and Ethereum forks are high market cap, high usage, very popular. So there's a lot of demand for them. We could bring over Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, ETC, quite a few of these forks. We could easily and quickly bring over to Ethereum after the launch of the two-way bridges. And so you mentioned, what would we actually get our cross-chain assets involved in? You mentioned Uniswap, yes, for example. So Uniswap definitely is something we would eventually like to get to begin with anyway, our cross-chain Bitcoin into Uniswap. But that's not really the first step. So the first step is really getting the Stormen node group set up. So that's the group of nodes that powers the cross-chain bridge. And Stormen node groups have a limit in the amount of cross-chain value they can produce on another chain, which is limited by the amount of collateral they have. And that collateral in general will be WAN. So the first step is going to be to lock up a lot of WAN into these Stormin nodes. And then also to move WAN over to Ethereum as ERC20 and then we could lock up both ERC20 and native WAN as well into these nodes. That's really the first step to start powering these cross-chain transactions. And then once there's enough collateral, we can start bringing over Bitcoin. And our first priority when we're beginning to bring over Bitcoin is actually not Uniswap. We do want to be listed on Uniswap eventually, but our first step is actually going to be to get Bitcoin included as part of tokens that wrap up multiple different cross-chain Bitcoin into one kind of pool or one asset to get stability across all the different types of cross-chain Bitcoin. So we're gonna begin by trying to work on integrating it into those kind of products. And the reason we're doing that is because although our cross-chain Bitcoin can be exchanged one-to-one for regular Bitcoin by going through the cross-chain mechanism, there's still some chance of price slippage if we list it on Uniswap, for example, and there's if there's not enough demand, there's still the possibility of price slippage. And in that case, it could lead to an arbitrage opportunity where we're listing one on Uniswap, and because there's not a whole lot of demand for it, it's selling at a slightly lower price, and we're basically just giving people for money, because there's such a big arbitrage opportunity. People will just buy it at a discount, do the cross-chain swap, and then sell it at the normal price and just make a lot of easy money. So the first step is really to get it wrapped up in other assets on Ethereum to make it more well-known and more integrated into the Ethereum DeFi ecosystem so that we are creating enough demand for it that it gets rid of these arbitrage opportunities. And then once we've done that, then we'll focus on getting it listed on things like Uniswap and other decentralized liquidity pools.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally get it. I think Wanchain will play a key role in this interoperability and in the DeFi ecosystem. And strangely enough, it's kind of going under the radar, Wanchain. I don't know why, but in the future, I'm sure.
Well,
Wanchain
I mean,
will
I have a pretty clear idea about why we've been going under the radar. And I think it has a lot to do with the strategy that I discussed before about how previously we've been entirely focused on just building on Wanchain and not focused on connecting to the rest of the DeFi world. So I think that the community is going to see a very big change in in our strategy, but also in how well recognized Wanchain is. Because we're changing this focus, no longer are we we're still focused on building, like I said, we're still focused on building Wanchain, the Wanchain blockchain and ecosystem, but we're now also focused on what value can we bring to the rest of the DeFi world on Ethereum and potentially on other chains as well. How can we connect to those different ecosystems and bring something valuable to them? So I really think this is going to make a very big difference in the recognition of Wanchain in general. And maybe I can also share with you another kind of strategy that we're going to be using for that purpose, which is the concept of dual dApps, which we mentioned in our recent 2020 mid-year update. So a dual dApp, the idea is it's a dApp, decentralized application, like an exchange or an options platform, like Finexis's options platform. So the dApp is launched on 2 blockchains simultaneously, both on Ethereum and on Wanchain. But not only is it available on both chains, it's available in the same interface. So you can, through the website or through the wallet, you can just, there'll be like a selector that says, which blockchain you're currently on to access the dApp, and it allows you to toggle between the two different blockchains to access the exact same dApp. So what does this have to do with connecting to the rest of the DeFi world? What does this have to do with bringing more people to Wanchain? Well, quite simply, it's about gas fees. So I don't know if you're aware how expensive gas fees have become for some DeFi applications on Ethereum. It can be over $1 or even, quite a bit more, especially for complex applications that require a lot of, processing from smart contracts. You need to pay for that with gas fees. So that can end up being very, really very expensive. So in this dual dApp interface, you'll be able to see the cost of your transaction as you're making the transaction. Let's say you access it on Ethereum. Before you make the transaction, you'll see it says average transaction fee this much on Ethereum. Average transaction fee for this, for this dApp, this much on Wanchain. So it could be like, current average transaction on Ethereum is $3. Current average transaction on Wanchain is 3 pennies, 3 cents. So, I think, of course, people know that gas on other chains is cheaper, but it's hard to really attract people unless they actually see it right in front of them. So when they see it right in front of them like that, it's going to be a really great way to get people, thinking more about using other chains, about, directly promoting Wanchain. And I mean, also there's, other benefits around speed. The transactions on Wanchain will be much, much faster. If you're doing, a lot of trading on Ethereum in a totally decentralized application, every time you make a trade, you have to wait for quite a while, especially, if there's a lot of, if the network is quite congested at that time, you might have to wait quite some time to complete your transaction. So just from a usability point of view, we think dual dApps will make it very easy for people to understand that it's just so much more pleasant to use, it on Wanchain. Yeah. And it's just got a lot of very clear benefits, which are much more easy to demonstrate with this dual dApp approach. So I think, I described it pretty much as completely as I understand it right now. We still don't really have like a white paper or technical description of this right now. It's in the very early stages of research and development. So I don't really have a whole lot more to share about that, except the basic concept, which I've already mentioned to you.